I appreciate everyone here. First of all, I'm going to ask, if you will, Mr. Manning, would you lead us in a prayer, please?
Okay, let's all run a prayer request. Let's remember everybody that's been affected by COVID situation. Connie Holder, her father-in-law passed away. Mr. Bill Grover, he passed away. He worked at the bus garage. Peggy Denton, Aubrey Holder, his grandmother passed away. Miss Walker, Levon Walker, Joel Lafferty, his grandmother passed away. And Jackie Woodard, Terry Woodard's husband. Let's remember these in prayer requests. Does anybody have any other prayer requests?
Yes, I'd like to remember, let's remember Cedric Lancaster. And remember my father, Paul Smith. They both had COVID and had a pretty hard time.
Okay.
And remember me, I need all the support I can get.
Remember Smith, any others? Let's remember our teachers and our staff people and everybody that works for the school system. It's probably one of the most trying years that we've had for them, and let's remember them and uphold them. I mean, it's been a tough year on all our school employees, so let's remember them too. Let's bow our head and we'll pray. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you for all the blessings that you have given us, Lord. I want to pray for each one of these prayer requests, Lord, that went up. You know the needs of each and every one of them, Lord Heavenly Father. And pray for the school system and pray for our employees, Lord Heavenly Father, Lord. Be with this board tonight as we make decisions, Lord Heavenly Father, Lord. And be with the community, Lord Heavenly Father, Lord. And be with us all, Father. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first on the agenda here, we've got a couple of presentations. Mr. Smith, I believe you got the first. Well, in fact, you've got them both.
I'm gonna get in front of you. I think you can see me a little better because, and then I'll come back up here because this first one is from Governor Bill Lee. And it's, I'm not gonna read it all to you. It's in your packet and y'all had a long trying day. But it's for Proclamation State School Board Appreciation Week. I just want to say personally, for the people don't understand that what you guys do. Today you've been here from 7:30 this morning basically, and still here tonight. You get phone calls from I Don't Act Right. You get phone calls from principals and teachers and kids and everything else. And 95 to 99% of what you do is mandated. Most of you've seen that now. But like the guy said, I believe he said best board he'd ever seen, pretty much in that words. And I don't think there's a person sitting here that's got a vindictive or an underlying reason other than do what's right for children. And that's what I tell people when I hear the complaining. So I want you to know how much I appreciate you personally. I want you to know how much y'all need to each community and Smith County. Special thank you. And I'll present that to Mr. Shoulders, you're the chairman, I guess that. And then if y'all want to get some pictures made with it,
Yes, sir.
we appreciate it.
Thank you.
What little here was given. The second one, if you're not into buses and stuff, you don't understand what a big deal this is. And I've never heard of it, to be honest with you. They got 100% on the inspection. That is you're in the trucking business. And that shows you the efficiency of what our school system is doing. And that is unbelievable. That don't happen. I've been in systems to where that you had to trip over, and it's honest truth. You get stuff with the tools laying out and so on. And I know the inspector personally. I went to the high school with him, as a matter of fact. He's an extremely, will be nice, tedious person, okay? He looks for something. And he won't care me telling his name, Trooper Darrell Winningham, and they dread seeing him coming because he's bad news. And that, I don't know how you did it. I mean, honestly, you do a great job, but you can't say enough good things about what you've done down there and what you're doing. So on behalf of me and the board, I want to say thank you and present you with this, and we'll get it framed and stuff. We'll get let your drivers and your issues.
Okay, next item on the agenda is our consent items. If everyone had a chance to look those over. Board minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the board minutes?
So moved.
Mr. Lewis?
I'll second with the, also, with the comment that Mr. Smith, there's some trips on this. You'll have to use your judgment, in case COVID is still around. And, you know, if COVID's still going, we might have to postpone or cancel some of these trips, possibility, so.
There's also one thing that I wanted to comment on there too. There might be one issue on one of the trips. We've already called off the baseball and the softball trips. And I know there's a cheerleading trip coming up out of town. I've had some people express concern. Unless it gets a whole lot better, the good thing is they can submit a video. It's going for high school. My understanding, they can submit a video for their, what do you call them, Jen? I'm not sure. What do you call, Jen? What do you call, they're going to competition?
Competition.
Their competition can be submitted by video, but it also falls into TCAP week, and that's a little bothersome too. So, you know, unless we see a big change in code, I just want y'all to know, especially you, Tommy, because it'd be in your district, why if we don't go. And we've done the same, it'd be consistent, that we're doing baseball and softball.
Any more discussion? Anyone else got any questions? If not, can I, all in favor? Opposed? Next on the agenda is the superintendent actions. You got anything? You good? Okay, let's go on to items, go on to new business. This is not on the agenda, but I do want to say this to all the board members. We discussed it today. I would like everyone from now on, from this day on, that keep your cell phones muted. Do not be, if you have to use your cell phone, or if you get an emergency, and I can understand maybe Mr. Apple might have an emergency, or any of us could have an emergency, but would you please leave the room if you have that problem? Other than that, I just, from this time on, we do not want anybody using their cell phones. Keep them turned down on their face, and there won't be any problems. So saying that, we'll go on to new business. Policy amendment recommendations due to the TSBA policy manual annual audit. Has anyone had a chance to look at that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, a lot to look at.
Now, Mr. Winkler, you said how many of these can we,
We can do them all.
do them all in one?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
One at a time.
Both, well, A and B both we can do?
No, sir, you need to separate.
Separate.
B something different.
Okay,
B
all right.
you can do it.
A is, okay, can I have a motion to,
I'll make a motion to approve policy recommendations, new business A.
second.
Yes, sir.
Jones was the first.
Yeah, no, he's second. Mr. Manning, Mr. Manning.
Manning, okay.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Policy amendments to combine 4,400 instructional material, 4.400 instructional material and 4.401 textbook section, distribution and care. Have a motion on that?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Lewis. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Allen. Any more discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item C is a request to sell surplus items at Heartland Real Estate Auction on February the 13th, 2021. I have a motion on this.
Motion to approve.
John, second?
Second.
Second.
Have we
Okay,
got,
discussion?
yes.
Yes, sir.
Is there a list of these things?
There will be. What we're asking for here is basically the ability to put the list together, okay? And I'll get the list out, but it's gotta be done pretty quick. The reason we started doing this, Diane is a prime example. We were getting 8 to 1,200 on a lucky day for the buses. What'd you get for the last three? $12,000 for four?
Little over,
Three.
just under $12,000 for the three of them.
And we were doing the same with the circle. We were having a sale, we were paying an auctioneer, it was costing us money, and then we were paying the buyer's premium. Now, if we put them in this sale, most time what we sell doesn't do very great, but we put them in that sale, the buyer's premium we put on the buyer's premium, so we're actually netting whatever we get. So we'll get a list together though, and I'll try to get it out. I think the sale's actually before the next board meeting, so I'll try to get the list to you, and we'll get out in the paper, people to expect it anyway. So I'll try my best to get to you, but we're basically asking for permission to put the list together and put it in that sale.
Any other question for anyone? There'll be money involved in this, so we need to do a roll call on it. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Wait, hold on.
Who made the second?
Who made the second?
Who did
Mr. Al.
I can't hear it.
Okay. All right, let's start all over again. Roll call, Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Mr. McCallum?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Okay, let's go on to item bid approval for gasoline fuel. To have a motion to approve that one.
Hey, Rick,
We'll get discussion in a second, just a minute. Let's make a motion there in a second. Do I have a motion on it?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Now,
Wait, who did?
Mr. Jones,
Jones and Taylor?
Mr. Taylor. Now, Mr. McCallum, you had some discussion.
well, me and Taylor, our books ain't got the right names of it down here.
That's my fault.
Okay,
I wrote them in.
okay. We'll just let you know,
Yeah.
Rick,
What's that?
their names ain't right at the bottom.
It wasn't on new business C, I had the wrong names.
We may move them around, that make everybody a little bit.
I got, you did right, it's fixed, you're right.
Oh, I see what, yeah, but I didn't,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, I got you, yeah.
You did right.
Okay. This is, any more discussion? Let's do a roll call on this one. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Mr. McCallum?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
No, I mean, yes.
Yes. Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Okay, bid approval for diesel fuel. Have a motion on that one.
So moved.
Mr. Taylor? Need a second?
Second.
Mr. McCallum? Any discussion? Again, this is a roll call. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Apple?
Yes.
Mr. McCallum?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Manning?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Okay, let's get into discussion on the COVID-19 update.
Ready?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Where's Tricia? Did you get this, have y'all got this numbers in your packet? Okay. All right, I've also asked, obviously, our head nurse here that handles it. I don't want well over when it's over with, glad we don't pay her overtime, but, I know she spent most of her day yesterday, and I spent a lot of time yesterday, but I didn't spend the time she did. But I got some different phone calls and you, and she had to watch film, and people don't realize the hours that goes into this. Our numbers are down, but the reason our numbers are down is because of what we did to prevent it, is one reason. The second reason is because we were off for basically nearly a month, 3 weeks, and ball games, I wouldn't be sitting here today without coaching, and so if anybody's pro ball, it's me, okay? But anytime that you want livestock people up in obviously contained area, you're gonna be contaminated. And that's why we're seeing the numbers grow again, as we speak. They went up yesterday quite a bit today. We're way down, and like somebody said, well, your numbers are way down. I said, that's what the goal was, is to get them down. But if you look across the nation, it's growing tremendously, and it's growing about 8 to 10,000 a day in Tennessee. So it's real, it's here. I think Brittany's done a fantastic job. I think the principals and the teachers now have bought into what we're doing. If you walk in, being on the hybrid schedule, it is allowing them to space to the best of their ability. You can walk in about any classroom now, and they're doing the best they can do. We bought these power sprayers. We'd already had the latest out in the prevention of the virus with some of the chemicals used. It's all EPA approved. But I'd be happy to share these numbers with you. I think we're down right now to 95 today, but I do look for that to go up quite a bit before the end of the week. Don't you, Brittany, with what we know?
Yes, sir.
Well, we got several out tests and got some faculty back out, and some of those, depending on how the test results come back, could affect quite a few immediately. So it is working. We're better than we was, and we appreciate y'all allowing us to do the schedule and so on, the way we've done it, and it's working, but we're not, obviously not there till we get what they call the herd vaccinated, you know what I mean? Y'all have any questions? I asked Brittany to come, and if you got any,
Okay, we got,
Brittany, if you got any questions.
No, I don't have a question, I just want to make a comment. And I'm not by myself on this board with what I'm about to say, although someone else may be able to communicate it a little bit more eloquently. But I cannot even begin to imagine the struggle that all of our folks working in the school system have had trying to be productive, do their job to educate our children, and keep them and themselves and their co-workers safe. I know that it has just been overwhelming. And I want you to know personally, and I know again for everyone else here, how deeply appreciative we are of not just you, but everybody in the school system and what you put yourself in the face of every day. And I'm just grateful to you and thankful, Mr. Smith, to all the employees for the job that they have done so that we've been able to move forward, continuing to try to give our children a good education in a safe environment as possible. So thank you so much.
I think Mr. Manning said it good today when you said you didn't think we'd be in school at all. You know, for the most part, what we're showing the teachers, other than one gap, we think we're pretty close to on testing on a normal year, what we're finding with the Ames Web and so on, but we're hoping we can even make that up with the new mandates coming and stuff. So they've done a wonderful job. We're not gonna tell you, we weren't good when we started, we weren't trained in it, but we've got as good as, I told you the whole time, I think we're ahead of anybody around us, and I mean that.
any more comments from anyone about this? Okay, next item for discussion is a bipolar ionization system, and I think we've got, Mr. Ryan and Associates. You're gonna give us an update on your system?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think where we left off, not to repeat anything. We did test that video. If you're interested, we do have audio hopefully this time. It's up to y'all if y'all want to watch it or not. It again explains the process a little bit. Yes or no?
I don't want to speak to the board. I'd like to see it, because I'd like to see it work, because I never actually saw it work.
I think we can.
We're testing this for the first time with a YouTube Live also feeding. That may affect the sound. We're gonna find out right now.
That's like, Andy, I have no clue.
Have
what
you
that
ever
means.
heard someone say, let's go inside to get some fresh air? Probably not, and it's for good reason. On average, we spend 90% of our time indoors. But according to the EPA, indoor air is often 2 to 5 times more polluted than outdoor air. In fact, many of the buildings we occupy could be harmful to our health without us ever knowing. Hidden molds, off-gassing from chemicals or furniture, and even people are just a few of the sources that degrade indoor air quality. So it's no wonder we go outside for fresh air. Outdoors, naturally occurring ions are everywhere and are constantly working to clean the air. Ions are created with energy from rushing water, crashing waves, and even sunlight. Unfortunately, the concentration of these naturally occurring ions is much lower indoors, where particles are often suspended in the air. These particles can include dust, dander, pollen, smoke, and even pathogens such as mold, viruses, and bacteria. The risks associated with inhaling bacteria and viruses may seem obvious, but even common dust and dander can cause respiratory issues or worsen pre-existing conditions such as asthma and allergies. There's still hope for indoor air quality though, thanks to ionization. Our patented needlepoint bipolar ionization technology safely introduces ions into the airstream, using the airflow in your existing ventilation system as the delivery method. When these ions disperse throughout a space, such as an office or a schoolroom, they combine with particles suspended in the air. This creates a snowball effect in which particles of opposite polarity begin to cluster together. As these large clusters pass back through the HVAC return, they're easier to capture in the filtration system. Our cleaning process is also effective against pathogens. When contact is made with ions, it disrupts many pathogen surface proteins, rendering them inactive. Other common indoor air pollutants include VOCs, or volatile organic compounds. There are hundreds of types of VOCs that are created by common household items, such as cleaning chemicals. Ionization is effective at tackling VOCs as well as odors, such as those lingering around nearby trash. Through our patented technology, VOCs and odors are broken down into basic, harmless compounds, leaving the air smelling more fresh and clean. You can also feel confident knowing that, unlike many other products, our ionization cleaning process will not introduce ozone or other harmful byproducts into the air you breathe. Today, our technology is trusted to safely clean the air in hundreds of thousands of installations, including offices, schools, airports, hospitals, and other community spaces around the world. So now we can stay inside to get some fresh air.
So that's what I wanted to show you last time. Now we have video or some audio. I hope that kind of helped a little bit put some things together what we were talking about. And you know, we in your packet we've got some test results. You know, just to back up to that video, and they're talking about the uses and how long and all these buildings. You know, we haven't really used this until now. I mean, the market is kind of making us get retrained and familiar with this type of technology because that's what we're dealing with. So, you know, we should be using this stuff a long time ago. I mean, it's just when we do projects and mechanical systems, it seems like, I know moving forward I'll be putting it as part of my projects, but it's, you know, when you look at the lab results and the packet you guys have, and a lot of those allergens like they talked about in the video and the viruses and the pathogens, they actually have the studies on those types of airborne, you know, substances, and which center has actually ran independent lab results testing on it and what year that it was conducted. So you kind of got this in your packet, and it really breaks it down: virus, allergens, bacteria, fungus. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And then the other thing you have here is this document that specifically speaks to COVID. So it talks about in a confined space, what they do within 30 minutes, X amount of COVID is rendered, you know, it kind of gets those particles, and then within 60 minutes, it's like 99% effective. So again, this is done, there's a long study in there. It talks about, again, a lot of science behind this you know, as far as making the spaces safe. Again, I'm not a scientist, so I apologize, I'm stumbling over some of these things, but you have all this information in your packet. In regards to what comes out of my mouth, the tests have been done, and this is fact. So this is something that really kind of supports the use of this system. You know, again, and one of the things I wanted to kind of talk about earlier when it showed those ions kind of coming out of the system into those spaces and attracting all those elements. I mean, I think that's where this is really kind of going. But you're in a good position with this CARES money, and I think we're starting to see everybody taking advantage of this, specifically just what we're doing with school districts. We've got a number of them ready to kind of do this type of program. Now, Barry can attest to this. There's a lot of companies out there that are kind of promoting these types of things. I will say one thing: this company that we're looking at, we researched several companies, that this is the only one that's approved by the FAA. And I think that if you're talking about airplanes and all the test that has to happen, that says something as far as the quality control on this type of product. If it can go on commercial airlines and be safe, and if FAA approves it, then there's gotta be something, something to that. And really, and these are the folks that we work with to install it. They're the ones that installed it into this, the Board of Education office now. We also have some independent labs, and we talked about, we put it in, let it run for 4 weeks, and then we tested it again. And that's in the back of your packet, specifically with Smith County and the Board of Education office. So,
Now, you're saying that was here, that
that's
was
here
conducted in this building?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, again, installed the equipment, paid to have it tested, and then looked to build results. And it, not only did it reduce the bacteria in the Board of Ed office, and you gotta think, there's not a whole lot of hundreds of kids coming through here either, right? There's not a lot to, it's pretty clean, right? But it still took some out, and then it even eliminated, not only reduced it, but it didn't even show up on the next test. So you'll have different types of bacteria. You can't get rid of everything, but you'll see the numbers greatly reduced and then even absent from the next test. So that says that it is working. It did prove that, that it is minimizing and reducing greatly the amount of bacteria in a space. And that's the goal, was to test the theory, does it really work? We've got this stuff, but we went ahead and ran those tests just to make sure, and now we can obviously replicate that, and now we know that it's working. I don't know really what more to say. I mean, we had some good discussion last time. If there's anything on your mind, I mean, we're more than welcome to talk about it or discuss anything that think of.
No, I think the big thing is, I think if they understand that test was ran here about independent,
Yeah.
correct? That's not your employee.
No, we.
Okay. And I'm as cynical as anybody, a lot of times negative, but you can't see it. I mean, it's hard to put your hands on it, but if it works, the FFA is a big thing to me, and that's one of the things they're really pushing is in this Cures Act is air purification. I think I've had 5 companies since you presented last time that's contacted. But if it worked, the big thing, you gotta put some dollars to what you're saving, because it helps us on ADA, which is, we miss 2 to 3 weeks a year of flu. If it worked and knocked the flu out, it would change the difference in our funding. Also, we missed, I don't know what last month is, we missed 409 days last month, man days to COVID.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot of days on a small system.
Yeah.
So if you can curb some of that, it doesn't, that in the investment itself,
You made me think of something.
It's just new, it's like, it's hard to.
Well, think of it like this too. I mean, just flu in general, right? I mean, hopefully this thing goes away, but think about how many sick days of flu, paying right for subs and those costs. If this can minimize that greatly, then that's.
So the air in this building, what you're telling me is 99.4% pure right now. Is that?
Well, that COVID-free, the test that was run, that was the tests that we have now that are specific to what we found here. There's still types of bacteria, but the graph that it showed, it was like 0. I mean, there wasn't hardly anything registering. It did pick up, we were talking about this earlier, it did pick up from when we ran the test, or when we installed it, ran the test, it showed someone was sick in the building, not COVID, but they had a bacteria. We looked it up to see what there's 20 characters or what that word meant, and it said someone that was carrying the illness. So, which means that it will help prevent that bacteria from spreading.
Great.
So it did pick it up. So again, that's another test that we found that's pretty interesting, to kind of, again, verify that this is a good technology and that it actually is proven to do what it says it's going to do.
Okay, I'm gonna nail you a little right here. I want you to answer. All right, Gina nailed you today. You said there would be no smells in the building, and Gina smells smoke, so tell me why we smell smoke in the building then.
Now, was she thinking real hard?
I smelled it.
There's no wires.
There was a fire across the road.
Yeah, no, I think just like, think of it like this in your home, right? How long will it take you to kind of heat up your space, right? You go from 65 degrees to 72, how long does it take to get up to temperature? I think as those filters, it's bringing in that outside air and it's cleaning it. It takes a minute for it to catch up. I mean, can you smell smoke now? Or, well, I guess it's not smoking. But you gotta think about it. You're bringing all that smoke in. It's gonna bring in air and it's gonna be kind of keep cleaning. It's gonna be hard to keep up with it. But if you've got stagnant space, you're not introducing any new smells into it, then it's gonna really do its job and work.
When it evaporated, just,
It wasn't.
yeah, it was just.
It was gone.
I was just making sure the building wasn't on fire.
Would it be like, I mean, I'm just asking, you know, your unit's not run, it works when the unit runs, correct?
Yeah. heat
So
or
would
air,
it be
that
like
fan
if
is
we had
blowing.
it
Yeah.
68, we wanna go to 72, and it kicked on, and it started sucking air, would that be, or?
Yeah,
So if it's not running, is it not working?
Correct. Yeah, that fan has to be blowing across that unit in order for those ions to kind of to work, correct. So if it's in like a hibernation mode, or especially like in the morning when y'all are not, your systems are powered down, I think Dave gets them starting like maybe 5 or 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
It'll kick going, and it'll go all day through until it's in that kind of hibernation period. But your set points in your buildings, again, if it's 68 to 72 degrees at set point, the system will constantly be kicking on to maintain that temperature. So again, as long as that fan is blowing, those ions are going into the space. And so, again, as you're constantly cleaning that air in that space and working, doing this thing. So it's pretty cool.
You said last time you was here that somebody asked kind of like, how long is this thing, one of these things last? You said probably a lifetime.
The company suggests that it's no maintenance and it's a lifetime, again, I can't put a lot of stock into that, but that's what they claim.
So I noticed you submitted kind of a quote or a estimate, kind of what it would take to put it in all our schools. I see where you broke down the list on what would be needed in all the schools. My opinion to the board, I think we need to do something. I think for the protection of the students and protection of the faculty and staff, and that we ought to think really serious about investing in a system like this. And if it, down the road, if it could curb common colds and flus and stuff like that, I think it would be a good thing to do. I don't know, Mr. Winkler, would we have to put this out for bid, spending this kind of money, or could we?
You always could, but no, you don't have to. It's an energy saving, and it's part of a plan for energy saving, so no, sir, you wouldn't. I would think it would have to be a new business item, as opposed to a discussion, but you certainly could, but it's not. I don't think in this instance it would be required. It's effectively a specialty service or a special service.
Let me ask a question to you, because last month you said, before a lot of people got on, you could probably have it relatively installed pretty fast. If we was to approve this and do it, how long would it take to install? Are we looking at 1 week, 2 months, half a year?
We're probably 2 to 3 weeks on procuring material, getting it in stock, and then probably 4 to 6 to install it.
So 2 to 3 weeks, 4 to 6, so we're talking
2 months, basically.
2 months there.
Ballpark, 2 months is what you're saying.
Yeah, so
Ballpark.
of course, when we install that first unit, it's working. So you would have areas that are.
You're saying
You're talking
give
to
or
be
take 2
completed.
months.
Right.
So you'd have some schools or some places on.
Would it work in a big area like a basketball gym?
Sure. If there's airflow.
Anywhere you've got a unit, yeah.
Did this include the gym?
Am I correct in
Yes, sir.
saying
Everything,
your
yes.
ionizer or whatever you got if it's a 20-ton unit, it's different than the size that goes on a 4-ton?
And we've
So it's, Marty, to answer that, I think it adapts to the size of the unit. Yeah, am I right? That's what I understood in
And
asking.
we've walked every school and assessed the units in each location to.
Different sizes for their.
Figure
So
out
there is different size units that
Yeah,
would be
I think
placed.
I had a printout in your packet of all the different types of equipment based at what school, and then how many of those we need. And that's just from different mechanical systems in your classrooms. It's a different unit than in your gym. So you want a bigger unit for more concentration in a bigger space.
So since there's no, I'm just looking at it on long-term maintenance, and like with David, our maintenance supervisor here. So if you had it in here, let's say for some technical reason it quit working, is he physically gonna have to go up there and get in the ductwork and look at it, or have you got set up on the internet that it could be sent our cars are all got sensors on them, we had to see that check engine light come on,
Yeah.
but has it got a check engine light?
It does not. It does not, and honestly, I don't know when you would know that would or wouldn't be working, right, unless you do it like a.
That was my next question, how we gonna know it's bad?
Yeah, I think that it would make sense to maybe,
Run a test once
yeah,
a year,
we
or?
would, I think just do a check, and again, depending on where the unit is, like, if it's in a classroom, that cover, you can pull that PTAC cover off, and it's a strip that goes across that blower, it's pretty easy. When you gotta climb up in ductwork, you need a young man. Maybe David's son can help with that, but.
So we could probably, if we was to go this way, couldn't we negotiate a deal with you to come and check them once a year? I mean, I'm just asking, ain't that right, Director?
I agree, well, the gentleman that.
We would negotiate having them come check them once a year.
Well, I think that's something we'll look at is
Yeah.
after the 15-year warranty ran out, then we could get them to come and.
It's a
He
lifetime.
was talking about once a year, but
Yeah.
they would have to do it, or not our maintenance, or,
Well, I don't think our maintenance, they'd have to be tested, so we wouldn't have we'd have to work out something with them to be.
I honestly think that, I don't think you can be visual to that.
I don't think it's a big deal, but you don't want something not
We could
working, do you?
potentially train someone, and then that way you don't have to pay for it.
Maybe send a group
Yeah.
your contract with them, so when they do a maintenance agreement or something down the road.
Yeah, I said, let's look at like what that cost would be, and then if it were me, I would be like, hey, train my guy to do it, so I don't have to pay you.
Yeah.
And then,
These guys are in the units, check the filters and all that, there's an indicator light on most of these units, and we can get some more details on those, but I mean, if they're changing the filter, they ought to be able to usually see if that indicator light's on. There's your check engine light.
There is an indicator light.
That's what I didn't know that either. Yeah.
and maintenance couldn't handle it.
Yeah, maintenance can handle a lot of that,
Yeah.
most of that then.
Yeah.
Was that other question, I answered that?
The lifetime warranty.
Okay. Oh, here's what I was gonna bring up. Now, what if you put it in a unit, and maybe in 5 years, the unit needs to be replaced? These units, they're designed where you can detach them and put them onto a new unit, so the lifetime warranty keeps going.
So when you're saying detach those, is that something our maintenance can do, or is that something has to be, we have to call you and you say you come down here and you do this?
I think that the units are, again, if the folks are already in and it's right there by the filter, I think that I don't think it's that difficult, other than some electrical that would be involved, but that would be something that we would work with you on to maybe it might make sense to do a really brief service kind of agreement, very kind of negotiate something so that we kind of cover all that, right? Well, what happens if a unit goes down between now and next year? What does that look like? How does that work? Okay, good. Maybe we video it, and you guys have a library to go into replicate, or something like that. That way you're not having to pay somebody to come out and do it.
We just do a training session with David
Something.
or whoever.
Patrick,
Shoot them.
yeah. I'm just trying to think of, we don't want to charge you for something that we can train you guys to do.
Sure.
Yeah. And it's relatively, again,
I mean,
well, I don't know how to do it. I blow the place up.
we're just looking at, we've got people that we pay to do things, and there's no use of paying somebody else to do something when we got people that can do that.
I totally agree.
Save that dollar.
Totally agree, yep.
And the manufacturer claims 20-year life on it. So, I mean, it'd be kind of silly to go every year looking at something that's supposed to last 20, if you can just spot check it on the PMs.
Sure.
So,
Any more questions from anybody?
I don't have any questions, but I'll make 2 or 3 comments real fast, because I've said all day long and I talk too much. But anyway, I have read it, and I don't know about the rest of the board. I've read the data in this material 3 times. And Google is my special friend once again, because there's a...
hey, I did too.
Yeah, I know, but there's words like this long, and, but I'll tell you, folks, what strikes me is, of course, the coronavirus is what's on the front of our brain, obviously, as is with everybody else right now. But the other things like mold, the flu virus, which we tend to take for granted now, but it still, makes a disaster in our school system all the time. But if you go through this packet and you look at the number of things in here that this impacts, and the way that it impacts it according to the study that's in here, it amazes me. And I highlighted one thing because I kept coming back to it, because I thought, it's 2 a.m. so my brain has stopped functioning. surely I read that wrong, but obviously I did not. So I came back and highlight at 10 minutes, 84.2%, and I'm talking about the coronavirus. At 10 minutes of this thing going operational, 84.2% of the virus was inactivated. At 15 minutes, 92.6%, and at 30 minutes, 99.4%. I mean, my mouth just hung open forever, and I just kept reading it. Of course, it's the coronavirus is what's got us all concerned. But I will tell you this, in case you haven't paid any attention. I come to every single meeting wearing a mask. I read this 3 times last night. I don't have a mask on in this building today. It's because the science is there to back up the study, and I've got confidence in this. Y'all have seen me 2 or 3 times a day slip and hunt my mask. That's out of habit. But I'm sitting here without one tonight because I believe this works. 99.4% is very strong. I don't take that for granted. I'm an at-risk person with this virus. I'm diabetic, blah, blah, blah. But I don't have one on. The study is there, and I'm just so impressed with it. I truly am. And, you know, we worry every day about hand sanitizing and masks and social distancing and this, that, and the other and all that stuff. And I can't believe it's almost like a miracle that we have something like this in front of us that could help us, I won't say defeat, but very strongly navigate through these times with greater confidence in a safer environment, and not only with the coronavirus. I mean, mold is devastating to a lot of people. You know, it wipes that up. I'm just flabbergasted. It's just an amazing concept. It truly is, and I'm very impressed with it. And I'm not wearing a mask, and that's the first time.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know if I could do it this way or not, but I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to go ahead and take this to a vote. I wouldn't mind. I know.
I think we'd have to bring that under, Mr. Manning, I think we'd have to bring that under new business. Now, that would have to be done.
I want to make a motion that we put this under a new business item.
It couldn't be done this meeting, is that correct?
I think you'd have to have notice.
We'd have to have notice to do this, either a special call meeting or brought up the next meeting.
I'll second his motion.
But we can't do it, you know, it'd have to be done then.
Well, let me also, now, since I made the motion and second, is this something we want to move on pretty quick, so we might have to have another special call meeting, or is it something we can wait till next month's meeting?
Can I make a statement?
Yes, sir.
While I'm 100% for it, I would love to, this is one of the things that can be, there's gonna be some guidelines that we don't know exactly yet how to spend. We're gonna be able, this is one of the things Mr. Manning is pushing hard, okay, with the Cures Act, we're gonna get a pretty good grant. And it will pay, I feel 100% sure that this will be something that'll pay 100% of. And I'd like to do the timing of it, and although I don't think there's no price for somebody being sick or human life, I'm not saying that. I'd love to give the stall long enough so that we could get it in our packet to get it approved so that it's not costing us anything locally over the fund balance. Does that make any sense?
So we want to put it on next month's agenda as a new business?
I think we'd have a much better feel by the February, and we've got to have her submitted by March the 5th, don't we, Gina? And I don't know, but I think we could probably go ahead and commit at that point. I'd hope we know where it's going, and I know the money we're getting, okay? And I know that is one of the things they specifically list is air purification. So and I know when the salesmen start calling, they know ahead of us, okay? I think I've had about 5 companies since the last presentation. But my point being, if we do it that way, we can pay for it out of that and not get into our fund balance.
Can I make a comment?
Yes.
As we're going around the table here. You know, I still second your motion, and I agree. But I will say to the other board members, just based on everything I've read here, and I encourage you to do the same. And most of y'all are smarter than I am, so you won't have to read it 3 times and spend that much time as I did. But, Mr. Director, what I would say as far as implementation time frame, if this passes the board, I would like to see it implemented as expeditiously as possible within the constraints of what you're speaking of this grant money.
And if this is the company we choose, I think you guys will work with us trying to expedite that also. We've worked with these in the past, and that's one reason they're sitting here.
Yeah.
And like I say, again, we'll have to do this. We either call a special call meeting or put it on the agenda for next month as new business to be dealt with. We just can't do it. We just cannot make a motion and a second tonight to do this. It'll have to be done that way. Now, if you want to expedite it and you want to do, we can have a special call meeting with it. But as it stands now, we can't do that tonight.
Now, I'm fine with putting it on next month's agenda if the rest of the board is, and that way we kind of know about the money coming in. I'm fine with
Okay, that way we could have it.
If the rest of the board is fine.
And don't get
with
me
that.
wrong, I'm all for it too. You know, anything to help protect these children and the employees of the Board of Education, anything to do to help them, you know, when it comes to money, I mean, and I understand where Mr. Smith's going with it. If we can get somebody to pay for it 100%, that's fine. But I'm also at the point that if this, you know, the money's not the object when it comes to a child's health or an employee's health.
Correct.
And like I say, I'm 100% behind doing this. I mean, I have no problem with it at all, but as Mr. Smith said, we need to, you know, we got dollars involved here, and if we can get this for free, well, not free, but if we can get the money for it to pay for it, then we won't be, you know. So, you know, we can put this on next month and vote on it, because I think everybody feels the same. They want to try to do what we can for the health of the students and the faculty, all employees of the county school system. So, with that being said, I guess you need to you know, we can't do that tonight. We just
You
can't
want
vote
to
on
amend
it.
it? You want to amend your motion?
I'm gonna make the motion, my motion was to put it on,
You just want to make the motion to put it on the
that's what
agenda.
my motion was.
Oh, okay, okay,
To put it,
okay, I
not
understand
to
that.
buy it, but the question I have, and I want y'all to answer, do you want to expedite this to a special call board meeting, or you want to wait till February? I'm fine with February, but I'm the one guy I want to vote here. What do the rest of the board wants to do?
I don't have a problem with special call meeting as long as our times,
I don't
You
think
know,
that'll
line
get us,
up.
it's gonna push us on the next meeting even, you
Yeah.
know.
That's not gonna accomplish what you're
we're not going
looking
to
for.
accomplish anything
I don't,
about
I
special
mean, you
call.
can still decide to do it, but I don't think you'll know more if you have a meeting in 2 weeks than you do right now.
Okay, so if that's what your motion is, to put it on the agenda, and we got the second here from Mr. Lewis. Any more discussion on it? All in favor of this?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Everybody understand what we're doing?
We're talking about next month.
We'll talk about it again next month. Now, let's get on to the annual policy review. Has everyone had a chance to look at all those? Quite a bit of reading, but has everybody had a chance to look at it? Any questions on it or anything? Okay, Mr. Winkler, is any use for an executive session?
No, sir.
Okay, no reason for an executive session. Other than that, I think you said that you would like to have a picture with everybody with this
Yeah,
proclamation.
I'd like
For
to
so
know.
each board member, if y'all will stay around just a minute too and get a picture of it.
Oh, and by the way, the schools and the principals, Miss Bell, thank you for coming tonight. They have made you a stack of stuff to pick up out there, make sure you get it, because they appreciate it, from letters to pies to, they've got a lot of gifts for you out on the table out there, for all you do. And we need to get a picture after we adjourn out here somewhere. You know, get a picture.
Anything, any other board member? Any other questions?
With,
Yes, sir.
me and Danny was talking today, is that something we need to talk about tonight on the closed captioning, or is that, you gonna address that some other way, Greg?
Yeah, he'll take care of that through technology, that's something.
Yeah, nothing that has to be addressed, that can be handled.
What it is, it's a good thing and it'd be a good time for people. I've had you and another board member ask me about closed caption for people on Chromebooks, for parents, and we think that's doable, don't we, Danny?
I'm 99% sure that this is by individual. I'm 99% sure, I'm gonna check tonight, haven't had a chance today, so there's nothing going on. 99% sure somebody can Google search closed caption on a Chromebook, and it will give instructions on the flow up of how they do it individually.
And if we figure out, we'll send a sheet home or put it on the website too, where they can help them walk them through it, and then we'll.
Yeah, I hopefully will have an email sent out tomorrow. If it is individually that it gets done, I'll have it sent out tomorrow. If not, we'll get it in the works to get it turned on to where they have the option to do that. Yeah.
Everybody good? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Second?